Hello everyone, this is Hakaym and welcome back to another episode of Funday Sunday, and we are in the Tier 9 British light cruiser, the Neptune, and I love this ship. This is probably by far one of my more favorite ships, even more so than the Minotaur, which I like the Minotaur, but I've always had really good games with the Neptune, same with the Z46. I don't know, I don't understand why, but I am today joined with Dread, as you can see. Couple tier 10s. There's two Yamatos on our team, Des Moines, Worcester, and Hindenburg, with a few sprinkling of tier 8s. Enemy team has a Conquer, Republic, Des Moines, Zhao, and Moskva. And as you can see, there's obviously at least three radars, in fact, on the enemy team. So it can be a little bit of a struggle playing a light cruiser, British light cruiser that relies on smoke because its citadel does sit a little bit higher. Now we are playing on Tears of the Desert, playing everyone's favorite mode, Epicenter. Oh boy, yeah, I don't know. Epicenter at lower tiers is a little bit more fun, but higher tiers, it still is kind of a camp fest for the most part. Usually comes down to is if you're able to destroy the enemy destroyers first, you're more than likely to win. But as you can see, enemy battleship was detected on the northern side of the cap, and as per usual, it's always a good idea for any British light cruiser to find a solid chunk of rock and hide behind. Now I do run the smoke Neptune and not the radar, just like everyone probably doesn't want me. They probably want me to actually run the radar, but I'm too much of a noob and I run the smoke. Yeah, so let's talk about the Neptune. The Neptune, as I mentioned, is one of my more favorite ships, and as any British light cruiser does have, she does have single fire torpedoes, and they do reload decently quickly, about a minute and 35 seconds, but her guns are fairly decent. They're obviously not as fast as the Minotaur, but they still have the British AP, which does mean they are semi-armor piercing shells and can deal substantial amount of damage to any battleship that is foolish enough to sit broadside to you. Now, I don't really understand what this Alsace is really hoping to do. He is just kind of rushing in. He does have at least 3 battleships right in front of him, including Dread, and, well, it looks like he might be trying to push his way towards me. Now, the one negative thing about the Neptune is her smoke detect is, or her smoke penalty for that matter, is not good. It is around, I believe 6.5, almost 7 kilometers. It's actually been a little while. I'm kind of saddened by the fact that I can't remember this. But as you can see, I am holding my fire because at this range, this Alsace is able to detect me in my smoke if I do open up. But one nice thing about this ship versus the Minotaur is that the Neptune actually has secondaries, and actually are somewhat useful. They can actually hit. As you saw there, we actually landed 1 secondary. Oh, 2. So, once again, don't really know why this Alsace has decided to push in. Torpedoes are back up, and it looks like he is once again closing the distance. Looks like he might try to go for proximity detect, but obviously, well, torpedoes are pretty good, and probably did not need to fire all those torpedoes, but it's better safe than sorry. So enemy team has lost a tier 9 battleship, the Alsace, and our team is currently actually controlling the center cap, but it does look like the Kid is currently being a pester, and enemy destroyers should always be weary of any British cruisers that are around because they can hit pretty hard against enemy destroyers. Do knock off at least 3,000 points of health there, and we are still being detected, I believe, by the Bismarck down south. or better yet, the Republic down south, and that's one ship I do not really want to see. So I am actually reversing and trying to see if I can help out our friendly team on the northern side that has a Moskva, Izmo, and Moyne. And this Missouri, unfortunately, is pushing in and is probably going to get focused down by these two tier 10 cruisers. But let's see if we can try to help. We do have our smoke generator up again, coming around behind this island. Let's see if we can get some shots off. Do pop our smoke generator and have begun focusing the Moskva. Now, British AP does struggle against targets that are angled. You really have to rely on the superstructure damage, but at this angle we're just not gonna get any substantial amount of damage against this Moskva. No matter how hard we try, it's just not gonna get a lot of damage there. We are, as I say that, we do get around 4,000 points of damage there, but this Izmo is pushing in as well, trying to get broadsides on this enemy or friendly Missouri. And watch how quickly a British light cruiser can actually melt down an Izmo. Now, the Izmo is not particularly well known for having a lot of superstructure compared to a lot of her sister ships, lower and higher tiers. But this Izmo, push around, does take a citadel from the friendly Missouri, and then slows down to a crawl. And just watch how quickly we are able to rack up the damage against this Izmo, doing around 4 to 5,000 points of damage per salvo. And you can just see how quickly we're able to just definitely wreck this Izmo. Now, it is dangerous to be sitting broadside in your smoke and firing your guns, because if it is a decent player, can in fact actually land shells into a smoke screen, can citadel you if they are fortunate enough. But this Izmo just fired his weapons on our friend Dread in the Missouri, who is now facing off against a Moskva and a Conqueror and a Izmo. But this Izmo should go down here on this next salvo. And there we go, kill number 2 secured. Conqueror is detected. Looks like the kid is coming around the corner as well. And at the moment, our team is doing decently well. We are ahead in ships, we have control of the center cap, and we still have 2 of our destroyers. Trying to assist as best as I can. Our smoke screen has in fact gone down, which can be dangerous if a battleship looks at us the wrong way. But at least we can at least try to assist. It does look like that Conqueror has slowed up and is in fact starting to reverse. And once again, showing a lot of broadside to a light cruiser is not a good thing, because it has such a high rate of fire, and its semi-armor piercing does a really fantastic job just devastating against any battleships. Now, unfortunately, we have just lost Dread there. Dread was at least patrolling the northern sector, and now we are at least we are still in control of the center cap. And unfortunately, there is the radar. I believe the enemy Moskva opened up. And one nice thing about the British light cruisers is the fact that they have very fast acceleration, and we're able to get out of there. The only really major downside, ouch, it looks like the Conqueror did manage to citadel us, is the fact that we have essentially wasted that smoke screen. And unfortunately for myself, I only have 1 more smoke screen, and this battle is still going on and is fairly close. Now, the enemy team still has at least 2 radars, the Buffalo as well as the Moskva, trying to possibly get some shots there. We have just lost our Worcester. Our Benson's in incredible amount of danger and has just gone down to the enemy Edinburgh. So enemy team does manage to bring it back. We are even on number of ships, and it does look like the enemy team is starting to capture the center ring, but is at least kind of being pushed out. Does look like the Buffalo does take out our Mogami, so now we are down in ships. Now the Neptune, unlike the Minotaur, does not have the amazing detect that the Minotaur has. Minotaur has 8.9 kilometer detect. Unfortunately, the Neptune has 10.1, so it is not a particularly stealthy ship. So you do have to be extremely careful. But I think we were able to at least get pulled away. I do have my torpedoes aimed on that Moskva just in case he does decide to pull out. And once again, I really do like the torpedoes on the British light cruisers because if needs be you can fire them in single line. However, if you fire them in the single line, if the first torpedo miss, then more than likely the rest of the torpedoes will miss as well. So you get a kind of drawback with the use of the single fire torpedoes. So there is that. But if the first one does hit, the rest are going to hit pretty hard and probably going to take out any ships that is unfortunate enough to actually actually get hit by the torpedoes. So at the moment, enemy team is at least starting to try to cap the center ring. And we are in a kind of dangerous position, and I'm going to be a little bit ballsy. I'm gonna go, well, just somewhat ballsy. I'm gonna use my smoke screen, and of course we get hit by the Republic's guns instead of the Bismarck, which is unfortunate. So we do pop our smoke and we do open up on the Republic. Now keep in mind, this is my last smoke screen. Once the smoke screen is gone, it is gone for good, and I will have no more ability to essentially sit and smoke and fire. There we have just lost our last destroyer. Enemy team is ahead in ships and they are starting to converge towards the center to start capturing. Now you can see our team. Our team's a little bit sitting further back. They're sitting in the second and third ring on the southern east side of the map. And it's probably about time to actually start pushing. Now I do have to be careful because there is still the Moskva and the Buffalo still alive, and I really don't want to deal with that, so I do try to get some shots off on this enemy Republic and try to focus him down. He's extraordinarily low on health. Can we finish him off? I do have to be careful because, well, as per normal, as soon as someone sees a British light cruiser outside their smoke firing, they instantly target it, and fortunately for us, we actually managed to take out the enemy Republic, which is extremely beneficial. Now our team has at least brought back the ships and we're starting to push in. Torpedoes are going towards this Moskva. They look pretty darn good. 3 torpedoes are inbound on this Moskva, but they die right before landing, and that is extremely unfortunate. But this Moskva is probably going to get focused down. We do have a Bismarck that is obviously pushing around, but it does look like the Yamato does take out the enemy Moskva. So our team is ahead in ships, and we are starting to kind of push back, which is extremely beneficial. We still have our Yamato down on the southern side. He's been taking a lot of damage and extremely low on health, as well as this Hindenburg, who's only sitting at 1,003 points of health. So it's a very close game. Good shell hits on those friendly ships will mean their demise. And can we try to push back? Now the enemy team still has a enemy destroyer. I believe it is the enemy Kid that's still alive and well. Can do pretty devastating work, albeit it is a Kid. Can at least land torpedoes, and unfortunately we have just lost our Bismarck to the enemy Conqueror. Did burn him down, but it does look like our friendly Yamato is pushing in. Enemy Bismarck is going to go down as well, hopefully. Let's see if we can snipe this kill. Not likely. Our shells take way too long to get there. Des Moines does get the kill on the enemy Bismarck. So once again, we are at least ahead in ships, but the enemy team does have control of the center ring. However, they are not gaining points, and we are still ahead in points. Now we do know rough whereabouts of where all the ships are. We know the Conqueror is sitting behind that island straight ahead of us, and the Kid probably has moved away. And we know at least kind of where the enemy cruisers are. Now, this Conqueror probably does not know where exactly I am at this moment, and I am actually going to launch more of a widespread, more of a semi-predictory torps, because obviously the Conqueror is starting to speed up and is probably going to try to get around the island, maybe get some shots on our friendly Yamato. But once again, the Conqueror does not know where I'm at, so those torpedoes hopefully should be surprising to him. But if he does turn in sharply and kind of hug the island, he probably won't eat those torpedoes. Yamato comes around the corner, opens up with a HE salvo, and let's see if we can help him out. Conqueror comes around the corner, and, well, good night. There we go. Conqueror is dead. Enemy team no longer has a tier 10 battleship. And I do have to be careful. Just in case that Buffalo decides to aim at us. I was expecting the Kid to come around this side, but it looks like he actually beached himself. And unfortunately, we don't get any shots on him. It does look like the Yamato does take out the enemy Kid. Enemy ships, or enemy team only has 2 ships left, the Zhao and the Buffalo. And just for the most part, just have to be careful because we don't have smoke. You just have to be a little bit more agile. Now, the British cruisers aren't always going to be taking Citadel, especially from cruiser AP. If you're smart enough, you're going to be using your bow, and you're going to be seeing this here in a moment as we try to maybe spot this Buffalo. Once again, I'm trying to anticipate where this Buffalo is going. Expecting him to maybe go on the northern side, but it does not look like it. Looks like he might actually swing back around. Just gotta be careful. Do capture both center rings, so we are now starting to gain points. We do know that at least the Buffalo is still in the 3rd outer ring. And at the moment, we don't see him. I'm still expecting him to come around this island to the north of us. But he's not spotted yet. Once again, whenever dealing with other cruisers and they're shooting AP at you, just go bow in. But that's just the best way to really work it, is just to go bow in. Their AP is going to be neglected. Not neglected. Essentially, they are going to pounce off of your bow because 203s just won't overmatch the bow of the Neptune. So definitely use that to your advantage. Trying to push in. I'm in fact 2 kills away from a Kraken. Would like to get a Kraken, but unfortunately for myself, I'm not going to be able to get it. Definitely a bad shot there. Definitely a bad shot. But at least maybe we can get some more damage, but this Buffalo's not showing us a lot of broadside, and we're getting a lot of ricochets. This is definitely one negative aspect of the AP on the Neptune, is that it just struggles when a target is not really broadside. It does look like the friendly Yamato does take out the enemy Buffalo, and all that's left on the enemy team is a Zhao. Now here, I actually was debating whether or not to go silent. Then I was like, meh, let's do it. Let's see if we can take out this enemy Zhao. I'm doing fairly decent on damage, 147k. And as you can see, the HE does actually a really substantial amount of damage, but this Zhao, well, you'll see in a moment, does decide to switch over to AP. Let's try launching torps. Maybe we'll get lucky. Now, one thing about the Zhao is that it actually has 12-kilometer torpedoes. And, well, yep, Torps incoming, and unfortunately for us, we are going to eat that. Knocks us down to 7,000 points of health. Our heal is still on cooldown. And fortunately for us, however, the Zao does switch over to AP. And once again, don't do that. Just stick with HE. Probably could have taken me out, but instead we get the Citadel and the last kill of this game. And this is going to be it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you like what you saw, hit the like and subscribe button. You guys have a great and fantastic day. Zai Gen.